Hey everybody, today I had a great opportunity to sit down here with a bunch of CellMates. We talked about transitioning veterans. We talked about clients needing help like that. We talked about our 2024 strategic goals for Fusion Cell. This is how we're gonna win this year. Take a look. Kevin Morron.
Yes.
20 years in the United States Coast Guard, and you had two jobs, right?
Two jobs.
You were a boat driver for a search and rescue unit.
Yes.
And then you also did a stint in recruiting, which is kind of a repetitive thing for a lot of us here.
That's why I'm here.
That's exactly why you're here. That's great. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about the gap that exists between military community and, as we call it, the civilian world? Because nobody else calls the civilian world other than, the veterans.
I think what you just said illustrates that gap. I think the military has its own language and the civilian world has its own language. I mean, a college kid in college gets educated a little bit on that language, and then they enter the professional workforce. They learn more about that language, and they become accustomed and acquainted to it. In the military, we go to boot camp, we learn the language of the military, and as we progress through the career, we further learn that language. So that gap is created and it grows the longer you're in the military. And when it's time to leave the military and find a new career, you're so ingrained in that military lifestyle, that military culture, that you learn about this civilian career and it's so foreign. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't even know what they're talking about.
That's right. Well, luckily we exist, right?
That's right.
So why don't you tell folks a little bit about what we do here at this organization?
The majority of us served in the military.
That's right.
Now we're on the civilian side. So we've lived in both worlds. We've learned both languages and we can bridge that gap. We're a passionate bunch. I think that's pretty safe to say.
That's right.
We have a passion for our military brothers and sisters that are getting ready to transition out of the military and that have already transitioned out. And we're really passionate on educating employers the value of having a veteran on their team and what it's going to do for their company, for their brand.
That's right. What would you say, in your own words, is the best quality that veterans have?
Tenacity to get the job done.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I got to tell you, even looking at our organization, and growing and scaling Fusion Cell from employee number 1 to employee 25, 26, 27, whatever it is right now, in the last 5 years, that's pretty incredible, doing that, building a company like this with bunch of vets, from different services, and we're a very nice melting pot. So we are a living example of, what we just talked about.
Yeah, the energy here is incredible. I mean, 4.5, 5 months into being a part of the company, this is my first time getting to meet everybody in the flesh, and it's just phenomenal.
What's the best advice you could give to a transitioning vet?
Lean on the network. I mean, I think we all understand when we're in the service that any of our brothers and sisters in that service, whichever branch it is gonna have our back. But when you reach veteran status, that network becomes vastly larger. It includes every member of any armed forces and lean on them, because we've all lived through that transition and it can really feel very daunting at times. So it feels good, just even if another veteran can't give you a job, just talking with them and hearing their story, it can help you through.
What is your number one thing, something that's most dear to your heart about Fusion Cell?
Man, hit me with the heavy questions.
Mm-hmm.
Fusion Cell, it feels like home.
Mm-hmm.
Every person in the company, even those that never served in the military, feel like family. It didn't take long to get there. And what that creates is an environment where every person at this company wants to do their job to the best of their ability, because they don't want to let the person next to them down. They want their success to fuel the success of the company.
Oh, okay. Okay, last question.
Yeah.
I'll ask you a little bit about sourcing, right? We brought you here to Fusion Cell because you have a very particular skill set, and you are doing some awesome things for all of us now in a sourcing department. Talk to us a little bit about that. Like, where do you see that department going in 2024, and how that's going to benefit the veterans and obviously at the end of the day, our clients as well?
Yeah, I think sourcing, a lot of times it gets confused with purchasing, but in the recruiting world, I look at it kind of like detective work, and I think what I really enjoy about that is, part of my job in the Coast Guard was law enforcement, and it's looking at the situation as a mystery. We've got this job with these technical requirements, and you've got to find these candidates that meet these technical requirements. We're adding on an additional layer. We've got to find the veteran that may not have the exact experience that a civilian candidate would have, because their experience is in a military career field. It's in that different language. So we've got to figure out how that puzzle piece is going to fit into the civilian job that we're looking at. And really just kind of that hunt to find that right fit is what is so exciting to me, and getting to use state-of-the-art tools and getting to have conversations with people on a daily basis, just getting to talk to them about, hey, what gets you excited? What's the job that you see yourself doing for the next 10, 15, 20 years? And does it align with the role that we're talking about right now? I mean, that's really, really exciting.
Solid. I know how passionate you are about what you do, and that's great. So, hey, why don't you share a funny story from your time in the service?
All right. So I was a boat driver. I did that for 10 years, and then I did recruiting for 4 years, and then went back into the boat community for 5 years, and then I retired. So when I came from recruiting back into the boat forces community, I was like, I'm gonna kind of have to prove myself. I mean, I'm older now in military terms, and these guys are gonna be like, oh, look at this recruiter coming back in, what's this guy know? So I was, newly recertified, and I was doing some boardings. I was getting ready to board this little recreational fishing boat, and I'm getting ready to board the boat, and my whole crew was watching me, and I'm stepping over onto the boat. Another boat was driving by that I didn't see, and a wake came, and right as I'm stepping over, my foot where I was going to place it ended up going from something very stable to a swivel chair. And all my weight went onto that foot, and I went from stepping onto something stable to falling completely on my side on all the fishing gear, knocking fishing poles into the water, knocking buckets over. The 4 people on this fishing boat were mortified. Here's this guy. They're going from nervous to mortified, like, oh my God, we're getting boarded by the Coast Guard, what's happening? To, oh my God, this guy just fell between our engines and the transom on our boat. And all I could think to do was pop up and say, can I see your driver's license and your registration? I'm pretty sure I was bleeding from my elbow, and I looked back at the boat and nobody was looking at me, and I'm sure they were just cracking up laughing.
Fair enough.
It took a while. I think people still call me and talk about that.
All right, good deal. Tell me something that's very special and very dear to your heart about, folks here at Fusion Cell.
So very quickly after I joined the team, I felt part of the family. And when you have that type of connection with the team, person A wants to do their job to the best of their ability because they don't want to let the person sitting next to them down. They know that their individual success is going to contribute to the success of the company.